radicalized here in India. So I came back after 3 years. I was working there as well in a very prestigious project. But when I came here, what I saw was not in shape. And to make matters worse, the industry changed so fast over here that our own business collapsed completely. And that time I was only technically trained. I had no experience of how to run the business or how to combine the business and all those things. And that's where my real journey started to play. What I understood was that it's not important just to be technically sound. You have to actually have the paraphernalia around it. So that's where my own start, when he says strategic innovation, that's where my own strategic innovation start coming into play. But how do I do that in the projects? For the projects, typically how architects work are that they get the brief and architects just design. And normally the things are based out of aesthetics or function. अच्छा दिखना चाहिए और अच्छा काम करना चाहिए. But अच्छे काम की definition क्या है? How do I know, or how does anybody knows, for example, कि अगर एक simple office का concept लें that everybody can correlate it, how do you know that what kind of a meeting room do you require? How big a meeting room do you require? Do you require an 8-seater meeting room or do you require 4 2-seater meeting rooms? So these kind of questions are bugging me very badly about, how do we get clients into this play about where they start questioning the very basis of what they want. And if you see in the picture, that's also a very high sustainable growth parameter. आज अगर मेरे पास इस बिल्डिंग में 10,000 स्क्वायर फीट की स्पेस है, मैं उस 10,000 स्क्वायर फीट को एफिशिएंटली भी यूज़ कर सकता हूँ, और अगर इनएफिशिएंटली यूज़ किया तो वो एक्स्ट्रा जो 2-2.5 जितना भी है स्क्वायर फीट स्पेस जो वेस्ट हो रहा है, दैट्स वेस्टेड इन द मिडल ऑफ कैनॉट प्लेस एरिया. थिंक अबाउट द वेस्ट ऑफ रियल एस्टेट वैल्यू इन दैट. So think about the cost of the building that is getting waste. Think about the maintenance that is going waste. So in some way, this is a very, very big picture that we're trying to solve over here. So that's where my journey started, where I used design thinking to bring the user into the play and start doing innovations at the grassroots level before I take up into design. So a few case studies that we were successful with were one of the ones which I'm very, very proud of is of a hospital. So how many of you have a hospital experience ever in your life? And
what kind of experience?
One of your relatives having got admitted or yourself having got admitted.
Almost.
Okay. How was the experience? Like, if they can describe the experience.
Very bad. Very bad.
Very?
Very bad.
Very bad.
In terms of staying in the hospital.
So what was the thing that you didn't like over there? The treatment? The culture?
Availability. In my labor, I was put on a stretcher instead of a bed for 4-8 hours. So
Availability.
it was,
Okay, great point.
Very bad.
My wife unfortunately was there for a month because of some serious issues, and उनके जो ICU था, they had tiles chipped off, broken lying there, जहाँ पे dusting नहीं होनी चाहिए, and we had like complained the first day, complained the second day, तीसरे दिन तक भी वो टाइल के टुकड़े वहीं पड़े थे. When my brother-in-law, who is a very, very serious oncologist from Ahmedabad and one of the top surgeons over there, उसने आके फिर फोर्टिस के हेड्स को फ़ोन कर आके और फिर मतलब 24 घंटे में वो रिपेयर करवाया था. बिकॉज वी हैड अ फुल मीटिंग विद द बोर्ड मीटिंग ओवर देयर सेइंग कि ये ICU है क्या, समथिंग लाइक दैट.
So you see, there are many facets of the problem. One is availability, which is totally business case. Other is your tile problem, which is somewhere a business case, somewhere a maintenance issue, also somewhere
fully maintenance issue.
Not exactly. Sometimes, how do you budget right for any infra? If you budget wrong, you end up using bad tiles, which are going to come up. So how is it only a maintenance issue? Which means that during the conception itself, the purpose was not defined. And one is talking about the experience, which is another totally different level. So any business or any kind of product is always nested. It has various layers of intervention. And before you come to the core innovation, the innovation itself has to be brought into various layers and see how you can all integrate them into one singular purpose. And that singular purpose is your customer experience. Everybody here is talking about customer experience, customer success. To do what? Either have success, either have sustained success, either have succession planning, either have builder success. You're talking about budget success, but everybody is trying to solve a problem, and that problem impacts the humanity. And that is where this nested system comes into play. So in this case, we did the same thing. We try and start peeling the layers upside down and that went beyond architecture, and that's when I realized that innovation truly has a process which is not limited to the bracket of architecture. This business was a family business again. It was started by my clients. They were family of doctors, very reputed. They were one of those kind of doctors who chose to serve the lower end of the society, and for cheap, only because their morals did not allow. But where did they take the hit? Initially, fine, it was working. Eventually, they got lots of land around. They started propping up, building buildings around. Now, hospitals created in this kind of a juxtaposition system, you know how unorganized can that be? At some point, what happened? Grinding halt. Grinding halt in the infrastructure. Grinding halt because of market conditions. Grinding halt because they were better players. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the vision, but they had the keenness to change things, and they had a strong determination कि हम करेंगे. But कैसे करेंगे? Nobody knew. So that's where we came into play. And we started doing the revisioning of the things. We started understanding what are the strong points, what are the weak points, what are the real needs, which sector of the medical that they really want to target, and create a flowchart of the medical system itself. I mean, imagine an architecture doing a system of medical flowchart itself. The result was that this hospital now has a capacity of 125 beds, out of which 80 beds are ICU beds. Normally a hospital of such sort has 20% ICU beds. Here we only targeted intensive care. 70% ICU beds. That is layer 1. Layer 2 is how do we service those ICU beds? How many people have seen death because of mishandling in hospitals? Death because of bad handover takeover between nurses. Patient problem because साइड में मॉनिटर टी कर रहा है. आईसीयू में इतनी आवाज़ है कि पेशेंट सो भी नहीं पा रहा है. मेरे खुद के जो नाना जी हैं, he went ICU sick because there was no daylight. He was in a corner bed and there was no daylight. He did not have any biological clock remaining. These are real problems that are not being addressed in India. And if healthcare can be, if you're talking about revolutions in the healthcare, you have to start with the humanitarian aspects of the patients, of the doctors, of the nurses. सिर्फ ये कहने से कि system बना दो and put a carrot and stick system does not work. You have to give them that ecosystem and you have to give them the technology right in their hands, in which the nurses can perform better, the doctors can perform better, and the attendant experience. Patient तो अंदर होता है, सबसे ज़्यादा कौन भागता है? Attendant. Lab जा रहा है, report जा रहा है, doctors के पास जा रहा है. So why not bring in some dignity in the ecosystem where your caches are being collected in the right way, your reports are being collected in the right way, your dispatches are being done in the right way, all through technology. So this was a coherent vision that is currently under construction. The first phase has been delivered, and this is a live example of how innovation can go beyond architecture into the real mainstream, and this can, when it hits into a triple P model. You are targeting people, you're making people's life easier, you're targeting planet, because what we're doing is sustainable, and not just sustainable short term, but sustainable in the long term, and you're also not defeating the profits. That's also one of the very big bases of businesses these days. So financial model, once you start considering in architecture, the system changes, the system tips off. So if one understands the nested systems of how our businesses are placed, one can actually radicalize how we deliver the service and how we manage our finances. So that is what my mission has been. And now I'm trying to go beyond architecture and see how I can help people change their own businesses, because only when you are innovating from the inside can you deliver outside through marketing. So that's
Great.
इतना spellbound, मतलब I have never been in my life. Like for even a second, I was like my eye didn't blink. It was like a movie watching experience, a thriller.
And something that really came from your heart.
Actually,
Because
every
you're so
word.
passionate about it, your mission, and being an architect is really fabulous. Thanks for sharing.
Time and again, Utssav, you prove that you are always on the next level. जो हम लोग सोच, मतलब हमारी आपकी सोच वहाँ से शुरू होती है, हमारी खत्म हो जाती है. हम फीडबैक नहीं दे सकते मैडम. Honestly.
I have visited a hospital 2-3 years back. So it was not a very serious condition, but we just went to this hospital.